crackdown. That's a 5-man wipe.
Mass amounts of rifling. However, Song of the Siren disjointed the fight and came back in favor of Fnatic.
Good morning. I'm your host, Anna Prosser-Robinson, thrilled to welcome you back here to the HyperX D2L Season 5 World Finals. Welcome. Wake up. Thank you. I'm really proud of you guys. We didn't finish until about midnight last night. You guys were all here earlier than 9 o'clock this morning, so either you were the really responsible Dota fans that went home and went right to sleep, or you haven't slept at all, and that's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. Well, guys, in case you're just joining us, we are in the midst of competition here. I have two teams on stage ready to face off in the lower bracket. It's kind of a do-or-die situation. Or sorry, the upper bracket. We're actually upper bracket right now. So these teams are not yet do-or-die. But they are facing off for over $50,000 in prizes and the chance to prove that they are, in fact, the dominant team. They've worked really, really hard to get here. And we're going to get right into these matches because I know that's what you're actually tuned in for. So let's bring up the captains. We have Virtus Pro Polar here as well as LV Gaming. Let's hear it for our teams. All right. FNG, how are you and your team feeling this morning?
Good, very good.
Very good. Lots of rest?
Yes.
And Inflame, how about you? Is your team rested and ready to go?
你的队友休息好了吗？
休息得很好。
Very well.
Very good. All right, so we're both in top shape. Now, after the matches yesterday, you probably discussed what you did. You were successful, so what did your team discuss after your matches and planning for going up against LV? You don't have to give a strategy, but just kind of where are you guys at?
Frankly speaking, we didn't discuss it all games. Like, everyone go for rest, everyone go to do what they want, but we watched their games and we probably got some strategies maybe.
All right, so the unplug strategy, that's pretty good. And Inflame, what about your team? Did you discuss the matches afterwards, or did you just kind of step back and take a rest?
你们回去之后有没有讨论就是之前的比赛或者是休息？
都有，都挺好的。
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. That's great. Now, what can we expect to see out of LV today? Are we going to see anything in particular different, or is it going to be just the solid performance we've seen already?
我们今天能期待就是新的表现吗？还是跟昨天一样？
还是那句话，我们是来学习的。
Like yesterday, we're here to learn.
All right, great. Keeping an open mind. And what about you guys, FNG? Do you have anything special planned? Should we be looking for anything in particular in your games?
No, I think we will play as we played yesterday and as we played in overall.
All right, well, solid, clear minds, ready to play. I don't think there's much more to be said other than go ahead and shake hands. Good luck, have fun, guys. And I am so happy to introduce you to the guys who will take you through this match, the dashing and ever loquacious, AC and Tralf.
Loquacious. That's the word we went with. Okay. Thank you so much, Anna. Once again, handing it off to Tralf and I. We're back here at D2L in the palatial confines of Caesar himself here in ballroom number 2, the Deuce. If you want to stop on by, if you're watching from home and in the vicinity. And yeah, we've got one team already out of the field. It's C-Deck, who took a spill yesterday. Evil Geniuses fighting their way through the lower bracket now. The loser of this match will, of course, fall to meet them, while the winner of this match moves on to our grand final. So at least one guaranteed grand finalist team will be determined by the time all is said and done with this match. Speaking of this match, how about we take a look at how these two teams stack up man for man, beginning with LV Gaming. Again, LV, it's a new look, man, and I'm not going to lie, I was impressed as hell. I really enjoyed the look they had with Ohio and Mushi.
It's really fun to finally be, look at a fresh team and just be genuinely impressed and feel very confident coming into their next matches and what they can do. Their strategy yesterday was so strong. We're having a couple of server hiccups, but their strategy yesterday was so strong with this Lycan idea. I'm very curious to see if it gets banned out. They would run this Lycan in the safe lane with a tri-lane, run him into the jungle at like minute 3 even, much before that you get the Vlads, and it worked out both games.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we have seen them. That was the question coming in. Would they gel? Would they be able to put the whole thing together? And there's, I don't think, a whole lot of question involving that. We saw some up and down plays out of all teams yesterday, as a matter of fact. But for the most part, I actually think LV looked as good as anyone that played at all yesterday across the board. On the other side, though, they're going to be taking on a Virtus Pro Polar squad that, I mean, they're playing with Jimmy. They're lacking Lil, but they made it work, man. And no, you and I had some time to sit down and talk to Jimmy a little bit. And it's kind of funny the way he describes it. It's like, yeah, so I'm just kind of doing my own thing that I hear, Jimmy. And then all of a sudden he perks up and he's ready to go. But, you know, he's such a dynamic player, certainly experienced on a number of stages of any size you can possibly imagine. He has fit in well with this group. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've said this before, and I said this yesterday, that standing in as a support player, I think, is very, very difficult. But I think him standing in alongside with FNG, it's been nice. I think FNG is a very good player. He knows what he wants to do. He's quick on his feet. He's fast on his fingers. And I think it's a pairing that's actually working out very nicely for VP Polar in this Grand Finals. Without a doubt, the draft is underway, and we're going to be ready to jump into that here in just a moment. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and certainly thanks to everyone joining us here in the early morning hours in Las Vegas, Nevada, as D2L Season 5 rolls on. One of these two teams moving to the Grand Finals, the other falling to the lower bracket, fighting for their lives against Evil Geniuses. So, did take us a couple of times to get into the draft. I'm not sure what the issue was, but finally we did get our folks loaded in, so we're ready to roll. Brewmaster, the first pick up from LV Gaming, still waiting to see what kind of look we're going to get out of Polar. Yep, the Vengeful Spirit picked up first, and the most important thing, I think, is that VP Polar is banning out that Lycan. It was just a solid strat, and it was clearly something that they had predetermined what they wanted to do. They've practiced it before, I'm sure. And it just worked out. And so I think that's a very smart ban. And the other ban, of course, is the Juggernaut, which has really been the hero of the tournament so far. Just picked up by every team, it seems like. So nice bans out there. Vengeful Spirit, one of the more popular supports, I'd say, in the Western scene. I don't know about the Eastern scene, but I think as a general sense, they picked him up a lot in the Eastern scene as well. So strong picks right off the bat. I am curious to see LV and how they run the Brewmaster, because when I think of Mushi playing mid, it's not that he can't play Brewmaster, I'm sure, but I'm thinking of heroes like he played yesterday. Like the Venomancer was a little bit different, but like the OD, for example, was just like a Mushi hero. So I wonder if he plays it. I'm wondering if they run him as a 1, have ZYF play him. I'm a little curious about that. Yeah, what do you think of the respect ban of the Spirit Breaker, by the way? We saw Mag just be tremendously impactful on that hero yesterday, and I just love seeing that. You know, teams that get away from the general meta and just go, you know what, you're pretty good with that. We don't want to cope with that. LV does go ahead and grab up a Lich. You know, an early pick Lich like this is very interesting to me. I mean, you can put together some pocket stuff with it. Maybe they're really wanting to run a dual lane mid, be it a Brewmaster or another hero, but Lich is one of those heroes, especially when he showed like this. It kind of has to change the way you draft because he screws up the lane so damn much. You know, he's going to be able to secure, if not a fully one lane, at least a lane that's going to have a much larger advantage and get a lot more than it should under most circumstances. The challenge, of course, though, is always how do you transition Lich and his value into more of a fighting role, into more of a mid-game kind of a role. Yeah, the Lich pick early on is always kind of interesting to me, because I feel like if you know Lich is coming out, there are many ways to counter it, so to speak. The most famous one, I think, is just to go aggro tri-lane, because typically Lich will either be in a, you set up some dual lanes, so that means almost always there's going to be a dual lane and a short lane. Well, if there is, why not just tri-lane against that? Because then you know you're going to put 3 against 2. The only time you risk tri-laning is when you know that they're not going to be against less than 2 heroes. If you're just up against 1 hero that you cannot kill, you kind of lose out on some resources. So if you can make sure that you're up against a dual lane, it's best to tri-lane. Now, the other option that LV has then to maybe combat that type of strategy is to just go dual lane off lane and dual lane mid at the same time with 2 different support heroes. We'll have to see what they have in mind. But I think when you pick it up early, they, again, have some kind of predetermined strat. Yeah, well, whenever I think about Lich and like you said, it strikes me as a pre-med kind of a thing, but it's also very flexible, at least for the first 5 to 8 minutes, give or take. You can do things like just set up a tri-lane and have the Lich in it, and then just bounce him to wherever the hell he needs to go. If you take a look, it's like, man, our offlaner's getting nothing. Put Lich up there for a minute or 2, just enough to get the wave pulled back, just enough to get some XP, then bounce him to mid. Maybe mid needs a little bit of help. Bring it back to the tri-lane. So there's a lot of flex there. But like you said, it is something that can be easily abused, especially if Polar, as you very astutely pointed out, wants to go something like an aggro try to punish it directly right in your face. And Vengeful Spirit, one of the best heroes to pair with any other 2 heroes, as a matter of fact, in an aggressive look.
Yeah, if he went boots first or something like that.
Exactly.
Vengeful Spirit's a very versatile support. He can move all over the place. He can stay in his lane, you just harass an offlaner. He can just sit there and pull and do good stuff with farm in the mid game. He can also just run around and roam with 2 levels because he's just got a nice skill set for that.
Well, still waiting to see what's going to come out of the other side of the draft. Slark has been banned out by LV, so they've been keeping an eye on old Illidan, and did actually see, I wasn't sure who it was, but someone from Vici Gaming popped into cast, I think, and let them know that they were a fan of Illidan. So not exactly sure who it was, but yeah, Illidan's certainly well known for his farming prowess. They are going to grab another very strong support in the Dazzle now. So yeah, I think aggro try is definitely still an option. I actually think Dazzle is very underestimated in an aggro try lane for the most part, and it leaves the option open. And this is always just a pocket kind of a thing, but I hope to see it again. I've only seen it once in a game I cast, and I love the idea of Dazzle plus any kind of reliable stun, such as a magic missile from Vengeful Spirit, but more importantly, the Tusk.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
The Tusk would be great. The only thing I fear here is if they went Tusk, they'd have essentially like a 1.5 core lineup.
Exactly.
That's the only thing. We'll have to see what LV wants, but I do love Dazzle in a general sense. It's not too bad against the Brood. You can heal up and just kind of elongate the fight. Obviously, Grave is fantastic, and yeah, I feel like I'm slowly seeing a resurgence of Dazzle, especially in the Western scene and NEL and things like that. But yeah, it's fun to see him be picked up.
I'm pretty sure I was taking a look at some stats in terms of professional pick ban rates, and he was actually really, really high in terms of his pick ban rate over the month of December in particular. So I don't think there's any doubt the hero is seeing a major rise in popularity. And I always wondered why he wasn't more popular to begin with. Whenever you saw, I mean, a few players come to mind. Fly, for example, was an awesome Dazzle player, and I can name a few others, but the impact you can have with that hero is not subtle. It is something that can be huge if it's played well, if you pair it up with the right support. And how about a Bristleback to go with it? Bristle Dazzle, that's tough. That's rough to deal with.
Yeah, they might even just go dual lanes of their own. They say our dual lanes are much stronger than yours. All you got going for you is that deny from the Lich. Because Lion in a dual lane, if they are going to do dual lanes, hell, even if they don't, if they just run tri-lane with Lich Lion +1, that's pretty weak tri-lane, which can probably be beaten by a dual lane anyway. So if Virtus.pro Polar want to do something like a Dazzle SB or Dazzle Bristleback off lane with a Vengeful Spirit +1 up top, or even reverse them, I think they totally can get away with it. We'll have to see. It's just that's kind of the hindrance, I should say, of picking a Lich early. You kind of show your cards a little bit early. So that's what I'm saying. LV has to have a plan in mind just when you pick that Lich that early.
Yeah, right now their combat potential, at least until Lion maybe gets a little mobility, they have his stuns, and that's nice. They'll have Lich's ult at 6, which can, in theory, be nice, but they're certainly not as brawly. They're certainly not as get in your face and do some damage as Virtus.pro is. They're not nearly as elusive. That certainly shores up some of it now. They have a late-game damage dealer. They have a little bit more flex in their lanes, and they have a hero that is going to be a little tough to track down. And for the most part, when you look at Virtus.pro, they don't have a lot of lockdown. You're talking a magic missile from Venge, maybe a coil from Puck. Waning Rift to a certain extent can help slow Weaver down because of the value of Shikuchi. But more than anything, I think with this last pickup for VP, they really need some disable, some reliable, possibly AoE disable.
Yeah, Weaver's a really smart pickup here. It's amazing versus Bristleback. Pretty damn good against Dazzle as well. It's good against Vengeful Spirit in the early stages of the game because you have to have sentries on point, ready to go right when you use the magic missile, and even then it's kind of a gamble. It's not so good against Puck, so that's what I'm saying. If Puck has a great game, Weaver can get shut down, but if he doesn't have a great game, Weaver's just going to run amok because Dazzle and Bristleback will do absolutely nothing to him.
Yep. Still waiting to see, and yeah, like, again, the need for lockdown is so much more prevalent now for Virtus.pro. We are assuming, of course, there will be a Puck mid with dual lanes elsewhere, Bristle +1, and Dazzle with some other kind of a farmer, some kind of a semi-core, if nothing else. But in terms of options, I mean, any kind of a silence is certainly nice. One can always hope, I always hope that someday we'll see a return of Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker actually has quite a storied history in D2L play. I've seen him pick to hard counter Weaver going back a season or two ago, and that's a hero that just completely shuts him down, or at least used to back when his silence functioned the way that it did.
Yeah.
But things change, and Virtus.pro now looking for an answer that's a little bit more up-to-date, a little bit more common.
Yeah, the ban coming up from LV is the Naga Siren, so they didn't want to have to deal with the illusions, which again I think is smart. They do have the Lion to possibly deal with those illusions, one of the better heroes in the game to actually deal with it. You don't think that he can actually do that, but he's got 2 different spells to just cancel or kill those illusions immediately. So I don't know if they necessarily needed to, but they're just scared of the Naga. Oh, you know what? It's because Illidan ran it yesterday. Even though they lost that game, he did still farm, and it's still a scary hero. I mean, it's Naga, man.
Time.
Terrorblade's still available if that's a direction VP wanted to go. Slark is banned. Anti-Mage, another hero that is very coveted by VP, but that would be really getting away from trying to counter draft. That would simply be them going just 100% their own game plan and daring LV to stop them. I mean, any kind of a hard farmer. Night Stalker is a hero that I kind of had in the back of my head. It's the same reason I said, that a hero like Bloodseeker used to work very well and used to see it very rarely, but still calmly picked up. You have a very long duration silence. You have a hero that can get on top of him, that can track him down, and has the speed to keep up with him. And I like the pick, but now Polar really has an all-in kind of a feel to them.
Mm-hmm. They do, and we've seen some all-in strats from not only this team, but
10 seconds
kind of
remaining.
EG in a sense with just a very early game-oriented lineup. But I will say, if there's anything that the CIS players are known for, it's early aggression, just running at people, and they do it better than anyone. So, building on your point, that silence, that pretty much instant cast silence, I should just call it a quick cast silence, is very good against the Brewmaster, very good against the Weaver too, because he's probably not going to get the earliest time of the Lincolns. And even if he does, there's still ways around it because Bristleback will constantly throw out that goo.
Void breaks it.
Yeah, exactly. So they have ways of dealing with that. And I like this. I feel like, especially if Puck gets a really good game and has a very early Blink Dagger, I think that VP Polar has the potential to just run over LV. We'll see.
Yeah, they're going to have to. I actually like the Zeus pickup a lot. You have Dazzle and Grave is nice, but the damage output they're going to have, on particular on the Dazzle and the Vengeful Spirit. Now you have Bristleback, who has to consider a BKB. Night Stalker has to consider a BKB. Both of those heroes we have seen are susceptible to being kited. And if you're effective with it, if Weaver has a good timing on his own Lincolns, has a good timing on a BKB, I think that's going to be the build we're going to see out of this Weaver in particular. Is he's just going to go pure defensive, and he knows if he gets those items, it takes the game to 35, 40, 45 minutes. They're just going to get an auto win. So it's really going to be Polar that's under the gun here to try to make something happen early. But like you said, geographically and certainly in terms of the talent on this team, there aren't many as good as these players, and I think we can expect to see them really putting the pedal to the metal. So we move on in. This is going to be game 1 of our leadoff series of the day. This is an upper bracket final. Polar taking on LV Gaming. Winner moves on to our grand finals. We'll await the winner of the lower bracket finals, which has Evil Geniuses awaiting the loser of this match right here and right now.
Yep, and give me just one moment. I actually have to change my resolution. It's changed, so I'm lagging really bad. I'll let you take over.
Alrighty. Well, Tralf sure is that stuff up. How about we take a look at who's handling who across the board? We're going to have Inflame. He's going to be playing on our Lion. Lich, going to be played by DDC. Dabru, going to be played by Ohio. It's going to be, pretty sure that's going to be ZYF farming up our Weaver. And then, of course, Mushi playing on the Zeus that I would imagine is heading his way towards mid. The other side, we got Polar. They got 5 camping the top rune spot, so don't even have to move the camera. Going to be FNG playing on the Vengeful Spirit. Illidan's going to be farming up the Bristleback with DK Phobos handling the Night Stalker. He'll be heading mid. Mag's going to be taking the puck into the offlane, while Demon, the stand-in, the mercenary of D2L fame, playing on the Dazzle. So we're down to 20 seconds until we're ready to see the runes spawn. And I want to see how these lanes end up working out and what kind of roaming pressure in particular is going to be brought onto mid. You have 2 mids that are extremely, extremely susceptible to ganks if you're quick with it, if your smokes are on point, if you happen to get a fortuitous rune. So it's going to be a mid matchup that is going to have a huge influence on the complexion of the mid game in particular. And again, the importance of that 15 to 25 minute window for VP Polar in particular can't be underestimated.
Yeah, I'm just about in. But, also another thing I just noticed is they have this whole kind of negative armor theme going with VP Polar as well. They got the Weave, which is fantastic. Negative armor from the Vengeful Spirit as well. And that all kind of synergizes with Bristleback in general. All of his damage is pretty much physical. He lowers armor with the goo as well. His the stacks on his quills will just all be physical based. So not only do they have lots of physical damage against the Brewmaster and just everyone in general, but they can also take Roshan super, super quickly.
This is going to be a dual lane look out of both sides, by the way. We've got Ohio taking the Brew out into the off lane. DDC's there with the Lich, level 1 sacrifice, no surprise there. In the meantime, we see Demon doing his work, pulling the wave, and hopefully he'll get the connect there. And on the bottom side, we can see it's going to be ZYF playing on the Weaver with Inflame there to support him on the Lion this time. And FNG and Mag going to be going toe-to-toe with them. And I actually feel like this is a lane Mag could be doing fairly well in by himself. And we'll see if FNG decides to roam and try to make things happen elsewhere.
Yeah, he definitely could. The only reason why FNG is here is it would be not very resourceful to put him top. You don't want to put 3 against 2, especially in a lane that has a Lich. So you would just lose out on so much experience. This Bristleback would just be way too far behind. So it's a smart move from FNG.
You see Demon continue to get his pulls on, but this is being contested very effectively by LV. However, in mid, we can see this is a big win so far for the Zeus. He's doubling up DK Phobos in terms of his farm, 10-5 at least for the moment, sitting literally under his tower. And this is another benefit you have from dual lanes, and it's benefiting the Zeus a bit more at this moment anyway. When you have dual lanes, it's easy to tell when someone's missing when you got to worry about roaming pressure. And so they can play much more aggressively under each other's tower, but of course the ranged advantage and the damage output advantage coming from Mushi is going to give him a leg up in that regard.
Yeah, and Mushi playing Zeus against a melee hero, it's just, you're going, like, already in any matchup for Zeus, you're always going to get a ton of CS, but he's going to get every single CS, and he's also harassing at the same time. It's kind of like a double whammy. So it's a very nice matchup. I still think Night Stalker should be able to farm. If he just keeps ferrying himself some regen, he'll be fine. Once it hits nighttime, that's his big time to shine, obviously. 4-minute mark. We'll see if he wants to get active early or play the more safe route and wait till 8 minutes.
I think he needs to farm. Because the issue is, if you take him out of mid when he's already losing the mid matchup and then he fails, you're already under the gun. You have a lineup that's drafted to make a lot happen that has to hit a timing window. And you're really risking a lot trying to get active that early. Instead, farm towards whatever core item you want, be it phase boots, be it an urn, you know, whatever you need. And then when you go as a team. Don't just go because it's 4 minutes in. The rest of your team probably not quite ready at that point.
Well, and they also have to be careful because when he's running at people, if they have any kind of TP response, you have to be careful of the turning aspect of Zeus. He doesn't even have to be there. He just pops his ult and he's ready to fight.
Demon taking a bit of damage here, but dealing it out as well. And the Satyr even getting in on the action. It's actually a very nice 2-man orb there. But Phobos is caught up a little 12 CS. 18-0, so no denies for the Zeus, but don't know he's going to mind that. They're trying to do something cutesy here with Mag. Oh, he actually just used his phase shift, and wow, Ohio secures a kill up atop. They are going to end up getting a return kill, but the first blood did go on to Demon. And down at bottom, we can see that they did manage to track down Mag as well. So 2-1, just like that. LV gets the advantage, and wow, Zeus manages to get himself a kill as well. Actually, yeah, no, Bristleback managed to get the kill there. And Illidan pursuing him out. Now there's going to be a big lightning bolt. And the magic missile onto Mushi. They're going to try to follow this up. Ohio giving pursuit. They're going to get him.
Yeah, nice rotation there from Mushi. FNG tried to do the best he could. He does actually manage to steal the Invis rune away from Mushi, so that's going to be a little bit of an annoying factor. Mushi will just have to go back to base, but nice rotations. All in all, it was a small trade or small win there for LV. Biggest thing is that actually the Weaver got a kill and is now free farming down here.
Yep, getting a little bit of room. And there's the Soul Ring up for the Zeus. So unfortunately for Polar, I feel like right now LV's quite happy with the position they're going to be in whenever the storm does begin to hit.
Yep, absolutely. And, geez, kills happening all over the place, but this one's on Lion, and FNG will be happy with that. I think he just stayed invis the entire time.
Yeah.
They must not have seen it because they actually don't have any vision up there. So nice kill, nice opportunity there for FNG, and he capitalized on it.
3-3, we're all knotted up. And as we can see, nighttime, Polar kind of doing his own thing for the moment. They're DK Phobos, as Polar is going to keep him relatively stable there in mid to farm for a bit.
Yep, this offlane has worked out quite nicely for LV. I mean, Illidan's still getting some decent CS, but the fact that you're getting 3 cores, a good amount of farm is very successful here for LV. And that's with picking the Lich that early, too. Another ward comes out, an interesting ward from FNG, placing up here kind of by the secret shop. Doesn't give too much vision of the tower, but just gives vision in lane.
Well, they've got 3 up here. They have, of course, FNG hiding out on the side, really hoping for an overextension. The Brew is short of 6, so if they want to get a kill on him, now would be the time. But this wave is going to shove out the Quill Spray, pushing them back under their own Tier 1. Here in mid, you can see FNG continuing to look quite good. Thunder God's Wrath is on the call now. And like you said, ZYF farming quite well. 6-minute rune will be spawning, and LV will have no problem grabbing this. There's the bounty and a double damage at top.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job of securing all the runes that they can. Like they know that the lane is being pushed up top. Even if they don't have an idea that FNG's off to the left here, they don't even risk it. They just walk towards the rune and then be on their merry way. Although DC's walking there, straight to coil bottom.
Oh, there's going to be the time lapse and Thunder God's Wrath doing its job as Yang now trying to punish DK Phobos. And again, now that he's left that left the lane completely alone for Zeus. Didn't get anything done. In fact, they end up losing their puck. And it looks close in terms of kill score, but in terms of momentum, they need a lot more than they're generating right now. Night Stalker notorious for, when he falls behind, never really having a chance to get a leg back up.
Yeah, and I think it's smart for ZYF going for this more fighting build and just pure HP at the start, rather than just doing something fancy where you see some Weavers, they don't even get boots, they just rush the Lincolns altogether. Doesn't work here. You're going to be under aggression from Night Stalker and perhaps the coil coming out from the puck. So if he just gets some kind of like raw HP, and then just buys enough time to either use the time lapse after the silence is over, or give some time for some teammates to come in and TP and help him, then it's going to be a very, very, very easy turn like we just saw.
They tried to make something happen against Mushi here, but unable to do so, and he is using that to counter ward. And another reason why Zeus is really caught on lately. Can control mid in so many ways, has great pre-equilibrium control, but also able to keep himself safe from vision. Illidan could be in some trouble, but here comes the rotation as FNG is right there. Are they going to get the brew? He's just short of 6, and they do get him. One last quill spray and a beautiful, beautiful grave from Demon. Keeps one up. FNG following all the way through. He's going to TP right out as we see Inflame gets there just a little bit too late. So Polar having a nice sequence there and getting a couple of kills they desperately needed.
Yeah, very nicely played by Demon, actually. Yeah, I wonder even actually if ZYF a little
Phobos
bit of trouble.
in the river. Caught. There's going to be the Earth Spike to follow. Do they have the damage? Thunder God's Wrath is ready. He actually didn't use it. He doesn't have the mana. If he soul rings, which he can, he may go for this kill.
No, I don't think he'll get it.
You don't think he would have gotten it?
No, I think it'll be very, very close, but I don't think he would. Taking the safe route. But yeah, I think if Panda did some kind of funny play where like he just ran upwards, dude, that guy was like 1 experience point away from 6. He was just right on the line there. Demon taking a little bit of damage from ZYF, but he smartly TPs away. Well played from him, and that was a very smart grave from him. He graved when he was at like not the lowest HP, but he knew that the nuke was coming out from Lich that would kill him. So well played.
Up at top, LV ready to apply the push, it would seem. As they're going to work, Illidan there by himself for the moment. You've got FNG getting some much-needed experience out of mid, and Mag still playing a bit of catch-up. He's got a Bassi, a bottle, and his brown boots, 3 Bs, and needs a 4th, needs a blink dagger. So hopefully he'll find that sometime in the near future. He really is so integral to everything Polar is going to be looking to accomplish in the mid-game. They've got to give him some time, some space, and they've got to let him play catch-up in a very, very, very serious way.
Yeah, this is the most important hero, and I really thought they were going to run the puck mid and just do maybe like a farming Night Stalker with a dual lane of Bristleback and SP or Dazzle, not Shadow Priest, but Dazzle. I thought that would have been a little bit better because I think that in this lineup in particular, against what they're up against, which is the Panda and the Weaver, I feel like prioritizing farm on your puck is a little bit more important than prioritizing on, say, a Night Stalker or a Bristleback. I really do.
Well, so far the map has settled down a bit. 10-minute runes coming up, so that could very likely change. Going to be Ohio getting eyes on it first. At least the top. Looks like bottom's going to be ceded to Polar. And yep, going to be a bounty there, bottled up. And what do we get here? A regen. There's going to be the Thunder God's Wrath. Pretty much a pure scouting maneuver, just wanting to keep an eye on everyone and maybe anticipating some kind of a smoke. But this Zeus is getting so much room, my friend. He's the highest in net worth, and not by an inconsiderable amount. 400 gold net worth advantage on the board at 10 minutes is actually pretty damn high. He's 2-0-0, so his levels are quite high. And his damage output is going to get tremendous soon.
And I like that he's going on for Tranquils for extra armor, and he's just rushing the Yules. No screwing around here, no Midas and nothing like that. Although Midas I still think is fine, but Yules is fantastic against the silences. It pretty much makes the silence. It pretty much lasts the old silence duration anyway. So it's a very nice pickup.
It's an excellent point. It's a great way to cope with that and make sure that if you're useless, you're at least useless and invulnerable. But this is the trap that I worried about for Polar. It's daytime now. It's going to be night soon, but Phobos trying to farm. He's kind of got this yard sale of a build going. Bottle, Urn, doesn't quite have boots up. Looks like he wants to grab Treads instead of Phase, which is understandable. I still kind of would have preferred Phase just because how important his damage output's going to be at this phase of the game. But yep, using the darkness now.
And a smoke.
They need a kill. They need one badly.
I don't know if they, because of this build that Weaver's going, and he's going for like a BKB or something.
Yep.
Let's see if he has enough HP to survive this. Maybe they go onto the line if they can get vision of him. But
just popped.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's a courier. Just dropped off Treads. I don't think they get the Weaver. Like, under the best circumstances, I don't think they get the Weaver.
I think they can if Puck is ready with all of his spells and they do it correctly. But once he gets this Ogre Club out, it's gonna be too. Oh, did he already get it? No, it's still in his stash actually. Yeah, he's gonna be very, very tanky. And again, this is a very smart build from ZYF. I much prefer it to the this kind of rushed Lincolns that we usually see.
Radiant's top tower is
Illusion picked up by DK Phobos. It was a bounty. Grabbed by the Brew. And this is the trap I was worried about for Polar. Like, I just don't see them getting enough done on the map. And time is ticking by, and yes, it's still very early. But this is the build that we anticipated out of the Weaver. He's going to go ultra defensive. BKB, Lincolns in whatever order he pleases. There's a blink now done for Brew. And they can just play this game so patiently. Like, if they just continue to farm the Brew, let him get auras, let him get a Vlad, let him get an Assault Cuirass. Don't even try to focus on taking the fight to him. You're just going to see Polar every minute that ticks off of this clock. Their combat efficiency drops so much.
Yeah, and for DK Phobos also getting 1 point in the silence, of course, and then 1 point into the darkness is he's not as fast as he wants to be in these night times. They actually do spot in flame.
Hang on.
This could be the death event.
Yep, they opt to go past. Nope, never mind. Ohio's there. Thunder God's Wrath is on point. They're going to catch Phobos from behind. And Mag hexed out over in the woods. And is he going to be able to John? He will. They did catch Demon. He's going to come back down to a little bit of damage. There's the rock. FNG tossed up into the air now. And see, even though they only got the puck, it really doesn't matter that much. The fact that they prevented the kill is enough. Like, that's all they have to do.
Yeah, no, they played it really smartly. Inflame was very, very calm and was very patient. He used his Hex at the right time, and just the ulti, not only just the damage from Zeus when he uses the ulti, but just the vision that it provides just lets you know where everyone is. It puts you in a little bit more calmer state. So it's just a nice lineup, and LV are playing it very well on top of that. FNG does get hit by the bugs. A little bit of trouble, and we'll see if he dies.
Let's see, ZYF able to get back out. There's going to be the blink ahead by Ohio. The Jaunt's there. There's going to be a Hex now on the Mag, though. Phobos trying to do what he can. One's already down, but Phobos just has no damage.
He needed to silence faster. He needed to silence faster. He didn't get it off, and as a result, Inflame hits the stun, gets the ulti up. That was a little bit of a misplay by Phobos.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There are problems. And this one is in danger of getting away from them if they don't make something happen soon. Demon being chased back. He doesn't even have mana. Now he does to grave himself, and they see the stick charge is expended, so they won't dive it. But VP, they do have a Vanguard up on Illidan, which is nice, I suppose. They do have the Medallion up on Demon, so maybe they can try to take a Roshan and try to make something happen off of that, and that looks to be the plan. But it's rough going right now for them. Like, Phobos, and this is, again, just why the hero is really undervalued. Really, undervalued, I don't mean valued less than he should be. I mean, he's just not valued highly, period, and it's pretty accurate assessment. He just gives you such a small little something. Mushi, there's that Yule's two-man Earth Spike. He comes down. They do manage to pick him off from behind.
I'm your god too.
Running right into a crowd here at the Roach Pit.
He just ran in YOLO mode, man.
Yeah, for real.
Totally there, biffed it. Still has his ulti up. If they don't take this fast enough, I think they will, though. They have so much negative armor. Panda ulti just came up. That's their cue to go. I think they're going to go for this.
Yep, they're going to see. They're going to see this, I think. Yep, they want to go. There's going to be a split. They're going to be able to get that Aegis back, I'm pretty sure, though. And maybe clean up a lot more. Here we go. ZYF doing what damage he can. There's an Earth Spike. Very calm fight, once again, as you had said. FNG is going to be hexed behind the fight, while DK Phobos seems to be the target. There's a very nice weave coming from Demon, who is outside of the pit. They're going to chase down the Night Stalker, though. Illidan's still up and running. DDC could be in some danger here. And they may get him from behind. However, Mushi is up. They do get DDC behind that. We see Ohio being chased down. Not the most effective split we've ever seen from him. And this is the fight that really VP needed. It's not going to be a game turner, but it certainly allows them to breathe a little bit.
Yeah, Weaver wasn't able to get off the time lapse, and they just aren't respecting the lineup of VP Polar. Like, yes, they were winning, they were outplaying them, they were out farming, but one, they went in way too late. They waited just way too long. If they went earlier, I think it's completely different.
Yep. But
the biggest thing is that VP Polar's lineup is built for that. They're built for 5v5 skirmishes when they're all clumped up next to each other. That's what their lineup does. They don't like getting spread out. They don't like getting kited. They want to just fight you, 5-5, even if with the Panda ulti up. So I just think that LV wasn't exactly respecting the lineup of VP Polar, and they just waited too long.
Yep, it's by the graphs. You could see that very important fight for Polar. A gold lead and an experience lead that looked to be just basically cliff facing, just brick walling straight up into the air. Reverses entirely, and we're basically back to even. So they get a reset there off the Roshan. They still have their Aegis on the Bristleback, so they still have the ability to take the fight to them. And I think they have to. I think they really have to prioritize that above anything else right now. They got to get into ZYF's face, and they got to make sure they slow Mushi down as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, if Mushi didn't die there, it's obviously a completely different engagement. The ulti would have helped give vision to see just how low Roshan was. They couldn't check it out. I think they check it out with the bugs, actually, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But the bottom line still stood. They needed to go on faster. And I still think LV's in a fantastic position just because the Night Stalker has very little farm. Puck, what's he up to? Did he have his blink yet? It's actually quite close, so that could be another step in the right direction for Polar.
TP in. They're going to run 4 at this top tier 1 now. This will free up the map, of course, for ZYF to farm and to push mid. Mag's going to be there. Should be able to finish off his Blink Dagger soon, especially, yep, the rest of his team takes the tier 1 at bottom. And looks like it's just going to be a flat trade. I actually feel like flat trades like this benefit LV over VP Polar. So Polar's got to pick and choose whenever they take trades like this.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely favor LV's lineup in the late game. I think Polar, he's on a little bit of a timing, but that's not to say that they can't do tons of damage in the late game. Like I mentioned, there's tons of negative armor here. So if they get another fight like they had, where they're just all clumped up and fighting just 5v5, no one's spread out, no one gets picked off before the fight even starts, they can't actually take these fights.
Well, it's not a flat trade if they take a tier 2. And they're a little slow in getting here, to be honest. Aegis still up for 2 minutes. And Polar should, yeah, I mean, they've got this tower chipped down to the point that it's going to be a deny range. Yep, there we go. Oh, beautiful coil. Mag on point. He goes in. FNG able to get himself into the air to begin. Mag has to get out. There's a nice grave on the FNG, and now LV down 2. Make it, yeah, soon to be 3. Nope, never mind. The Brew gets a split off. Here we go. ZYF coming in with that freshly completed BKB. Phobos is going to bail out. Demon's going to end up dying on the backside of this fight. Illidan hanging around, wants to get the tower, and does. He has an Aegis for another 30 to 60 seconds. Now DDC the one being chased. And Polar's going to get that. Ohio, once again, not very effective with his Brewmaster split. It's a 2 for 3 when all is said and done, but it does, as a matter of fact, include a tower. So you can talk about the value of it. But really and truly, I don't feel like LV's getting all that much mileage out of their ultimates.
Mushi's just dying way too fast. He's not getting any spells off. Again, his ult's just ready to go, but when he's sitting up there and just... Well, the main thing was that they didn't know that the blink was up on the pug. And they were all 3 clumped up, and it was a fantastic initiation from Mag. So I can't really necessarily fault LV and say they messed up, you screwed up. It was more on the side of just a nice play from Polar, nice play from Mag.
It looks like a counter punch coming from LV.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
As they are chipping the tower, and they will take the tier 1.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
This is going to be a BKB done in about 1,200 gold for the Night Stalker. What do you think of the BKB first pick? I mean, very often you'll see something like an armlet, anything like that. You know, just something to get your damage up.
I think it's okay, but if he gets initiated on with a line, he's just dead anyway. And Weaver doesn't really care about your BKB either. I think, personally, when I think you pick Night Stalker, you got to go Ags. It's just what the hero does best for your team, just giving the extra vision. That's why the hero, I think, is popular and why he's strong right now. So BKB, while it might mitigate a little bit of things from the enemy team, I just think the hero was built for an Ags, personally.
Well, for the moment, Polar. Looks like they want to back off. I thought they were going to go ahead and fight. He will go ahead and proc Darkness, though. Lots of room for ZYF to farm up. And I want to watch his gold count and see what he builds towards. What's he have on the courier? Yep, there's going to be, it's actually going to be a Deso. I thought he was going to go Lincolns just to stay ultra safe and just go ultra late, but going with a Deso, now all these melee heroes, the 2 melee damage dealers they have, the Bristle and, of course, Phobos on the Night Stalker, this is going to be a tough game for them. Like you said, if they're initiated upon, if they're hexed out, caught by the Lion, they've got burst magic damage, which is handy-dandy. But now you've got a, once this is done, and it's not that far from being done, as a matter of fact, about 1,900 gold and you'll have it. You've got a Weaver that's just going to be able to wear you out over the time of fights if he can stay alive.
I actually don't know if I really like the Deso pickup. I mean, there's so much, they can get so much armor with the Tassel and Weave. That's my only concern, is that the Deso might be futile. Here comes a
whip on the
missed.
coil.
Oh no, that doesn't really matter though. He's going to BKB either way. So.
And FNG just dead.
Yeah, I don't know what they thought was going to happen. Like, what happens even if he hits the coil? The same exact outcome. He just BKBs in the fight. So that was a weird initiation.
Well, VP now under their own tier
Dyer's
2.
top tower
And
is
here
under
comes Illidan right up with the chin, and they're just going to chase him down. Oh no, actually the split's canceled by a wonderful waning rift. Illidan still being target fired down, and there's going to be the grave to keep him up and running. He's just going to try to get the hell out of dodge. As we see, that's going to be the story for LV Gaming as well. Again, this Brewmaster split not accomplishing a whole hell of a lot. FMG is tracked down, and they get mag from behind as well. Now Ohio, though, caught from behind.
under attack.
And he's not going to be able to make it. Waste of 100 gold there. No reason to even try to TP that time. But ends up being a 2-for-1. So Polar able to hold serve. They keep their tower standing, and they put LV on the run with the tail between their legs. Is it just me, man? Or, again, I don't feel like Ohio is really getting anything of value accomplished with the Brew.
I think you're right, but I don't think it's his fault. I think it's the draft. Like, and I'm not to say this is a bad draft and that Panda shouldn't have been picked. I just think VP Polar has done a good job about countering that. The constant heals coming out every, like, what is it, 4 seconds, I think, level? 6 seconds. Constant heals coming out. The Weave to give you extra armor. The Shallow Grave to just be annoying. The Bristleback who's going to run around. It doesn't really do anything against the Panda. Or sorry, it kind of goes both ways, where Panda can throw him up in the air, but at the same time, Panda doesn't do anything as far as actually getting damage done to Bristleback. It's just too hard against these heroes, so I don't think it's necessarily his fault.
Yep, DDC, super dead under his own tier 1. This is what VP needs to be doing.
Is under attack.
Keep this trainer rolling, boys.
Radiant structures are
And we can
fortified.
see they've actually taken their biggest lead of the game. After this tower, they'll be up about 2,000 gold, give or take.
Radiant's middle
The experience
tower
is
has
dead
fallen.
even. So there's no doubt about it. LV had a couple of opportunities to really put this game semi out of reach, at least semi out of reach. But Polar has done well. Between the Roshan, the Roche Pit fight, few poor decisions that LV has made that has allowed VP to capitalize. And they're in decent shape now, coming up on 24 minutes.
I like the SNY pickup a lot from Bristleback too, because he's a hero that can get kited out quite easily, and that's what most teams try to do. But
Radiant's
when you
middle
give yourself
tower
the
is
extra
under
movement
attack.
speed by stacking the Warpath on top of just the sheer movement speed from Saint Nyasha,
Dyer's bottom
you can actually
tower
get
is
in
under
people's
attack.
face, and it becomes much more difficult to
Dyer's
kite him. So
structures
he's going to finish his
fortified.
BKB. I think that's great. I think Basher is in store for him next. So finish the BKB. He has it now. Basher, if he gets that, he can really be in the face and just go crazy. Turns that into Abyssal. He starts getting solo kills on all these heroes.
Polar looks like they're going to dodge a bullet here, as LV went hunting for him. But they pulled back either through good game sense or good blind luck. There's the oh, they just saw it. Yep, just pinged it out. Just caught Roshan respawning there. Polar probably going to suspect it. We've got ZYF pushing in the bottom lane. They're going to try to bait a fight out of this, keeping the rest of the team back behind him in smoke. He's going to be quick on the trigger. We've seen him fail a little bit in time lapses and a few other things, but they definitely want to try to grab him if you're Polar. He's going to pull back. They're going to hope they pursue. Not going to be the case. Let's see how aggressively LV wants to play this. Mech is done on Demon in the meantime, so they're going to be able to draw these fights out a little bit longer, which I think is going to behoove them tremendously with heroes like Dazzle and the Bristleback already. And looks like LV's just going to go ahead and retreat. Not going to press their luck too much.
Well, the one good thing that LV has going for them is that Deso is picked up on the Weaver, is that there's almost no way to actually initiate and kill the Weaver. Can't do it with Puck, can't do it with NS, can't do it with anybody. The only one that can actually get him locked down is one single stun from the vent, but that is just not going to happen.
Right.
So in that sense, it's a very nice lineup for the Weaver. And if Weaver just gets massively big, that's the one way that they can just kind of run over VP's bowler. But until that point, he's just not even close to where he needs to be.
This minus armor doing its work.
Top tower is under attack.
And Illidan's going to bail out. We can see he was chunking away at this Roshan. Roche sitting at negative 14 armor at one point, I think.
Yeah, he lost a lot of mana, though, actually. Like, it's kind of a big deal, because now that's 2 spells will be cast. He's going to go down to about 100 mana now. Yeah, if they actually fight this now, he's going to be out of mana, which is actually kind of a big deal for this.
Here we go. There's going to be the initiation on the Phobos. Phobos able to BKB. CYF hanging on to his. In the meantime, Illidan does it as well. He wants to continue to focus on the Roshan. Mag brought down behind the fight. We're going to have that Deso being shown. Oh, it was snatched. Beautiful play by Mushi as he gets the snatch. Illidan's in trouble. Graves, the only thing keeping him standing. We're going to see Zeus.
Double Yules.
Yep. The FNG going to be pursued out. This is an unmitigated disaster for VP as they lose 4. And old Jimmy, last man standing, not a lot of mana. Can you count with me? Let's up. He's going to grave himself and ruin my. Yep, he's going to stand and wait for his fate. Full 5-man wipe and a triple kill for ZYF as they wipe the board clean. Mushi with the Aegis snatch. And this is probably about all she wrote for game 1.
And I don't know if you saw the beginning, but they must have just picked off the puck before he cast anything, because he's coming up, respawning with Coil.
Yep. You know, he died right about here.
Right probably to the line initiation or something.
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic steal by Mushi, but I even questioned them going in for that just because Bristleback had no mana. Even if he respawns with the Aegis, I think 2 or 3 of his teammates are already dead by that point. And when you isolate the Bristleback, it becomes very, very easy to kill. So nicely done by LV. Great play by Mushi with that steal.
Polar in a deep, dark hole. Almost 3,000 gold, and we're going to see ZYF BKB himself to safety. He has a TP, will be swapped back, and now he's just going to Shikuchi away. He even has time lapse, but they're staying on him. They're going to spin the coil. They get the silence, and he can't time lapse. Like now he can. And they're still staying right on top of him. He gets an invis rune, and that's fortuitous. And he's going to continue to run.
Wait, why did he stick?
Oh, there it is.
Why did he stick? He could have ran out for the extra 2 seconds of Sakuchi. Let me check if they have a gem or something like that. Nope. I think he could have maybe lived there. He sticked to break his Sakuchi. Oh, well.
Immediate smoke. Polar, and that's actually a big kill for them. He was up to like 2,800 gold. He lost a lot with that death.
Yeah.
And he's already built his damage, so I think a Lincoln's would make sense for him at this point. But the items are coming out. And we see Phobos has picked up plate meal. Not sure if he wants to go in the direction of a Shiva's, or if he wants to go more just a straight up assault cuirass. Assault cuirass would make a ton of sense, of course. Helping his entire team out, most notably helping out the Bristleback. Bristleback, it honestly wouldn't be that bad of an idea if Bristleback decided to go ahead and finish his Crimson Guard.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Yeah, I mean, Crimson Guard is great. And it's usually a Chinese thing. They always love to get it, but we didn't see Fear get it yesterday. We're not seeing him rush it this. Like, if you're not going to rush it, I feel like there's no point in getting it. It kind of loses its effectiveness after a certain point. But I really feel like Basher would be great for him. Turn him on the offensive. Stop making him a defensive kind of hero when he has, you know, 260, 80 damage or whatever with that Warpath stack.
Yep, for sure. Not just a Warpath stack, but mass amounts of minus armor.
Sure, yeah.
Phobos, BKB is going to go right on to Mushi. Mushi has his Yules, and Inflame actually cancels his TP. Thought better of it, and looks like VP thought better of it as well, as they had some help on the way, but didn't want to overinvest. LV maintains their lead. It is 20-15, and yeah. This is a violent swing, largest lead of the game now in LV's favor. 5,000 and 4,000 respectively, gold and experience. And Brew's going to have his Assault Cuirass done very soon as well. He's already got, does he have the plate mill on the courier by chance? He does not. Never mind. So he's got another 1,000 gold or so.
Yep. He has the other 2 components. He's got chainmail and the recipe. So yeah, he's going to actually have it very, very soon. Bristleback. I am curious to see what he goes for. I do think, I do think that the Basher would be quite good. It's very annoying playing against Panda too, because once those BKB durations go down, you're going to have that miss chance to deal with all the time. And do you really want to go for an MKB this early on Bristleback? I don't think you do. He might even want to think about it hard before he does that.
Yeah, for sure. If this, I don't know. I'm still kind of going back and forth on Phobos. What do you think, Shivas or? Like I think
Axe,
Shivas
man.
could be good.
I don't know why. Like I feel like the
well,
Night
he's got the
Stalker-
plate mail.
Well,
So,
yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. Of course, he's probably going to go for I think an AC.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know why he's not getting Ags. It's just so good on Night Stalker. It's what the hero is meant to do. Is just give you vision and gank around, have that true sight. You go counter warding with a gem. I don't know. I think you pick Night Stalker for the Ags, but that's just me, I guess.
There's that Cuirass done for Ohio. Basher picked up on the Bristleback.
Yes, I
so
like
good call, homie.
Yeah, I think that's a good pickup. I think it transitions him from being this very tanky, annoying hero that only gets kited, saying, you can't kite me now because I have movement speed and I got a bash and you're staying there. So I think it's a nice balance for this hero.
Well, once again, the game has settled down. And unfortunately for VP, settled down is not the state they want things to be in. Has leveled off, though, so they're at least stopping the bleeding. Problem is the late game is just going to come so quickly if they continue. And it's going to be, yeah, they're skipping Lincoln Sphere. The hell with it. ZYF says, we've got enough to keep me alive. How about I just go pure damage? Picks up a Demon Edge now. And, you know, he can go Demon Edge. He can get a crit stick. He can go MKB if he wants. He can just, I mean, like, his options are endless. And every minute that ticks by, LV just gets further and further ahead. No matter what the metrics say, it's just going to be such a tough row to hoe for Polar.
Well, this is a terrible Lincoln's game, so I'm really happy to see him not buy it. A lot of people sometimes get in the mode of like, this is the build I have to do, and it's just too comfortable. I'm not going to change it. Here comes Illidan. He's putting some damage on DDC with that Basher.
Should be an easy kill. The weave comes out as well. Gets one. Oh, yeah. And that's exactly what they want to see more of.
300, 400. Oh, my God. He's hitting so hard.
There's a Thunder God's Wrath.
Not really doing too much, actually. Yeah, he was hitting for like 400 damage, man. That was insane. With bashes, with like 470 movement speed. This hero packs a punch in the late game.
And he's going to go to work again. Inflame gets the Hex off. Yang is there, but look at Yang doing good damage. That's a really bad grade from Jimmy.
It's a little bit early, but it is a low cooldown at this stage of the game. He's got it up in 9 seconds.
And oh, Phobos brought down in a hurry after eating the finger from Inflame. And ZYF continuing to pursue this out. Demons hemmed up inside of the pit. FNG next on the list. And ZYF still on the warpath trying to catch up with Illidan, but that is a fast-moving Bristleback. Behind that, we see FNG comes back down into some trouble. And yeah, ZYF will take the easy one this time. And we actually have Mag, who's been used as well. And he does manage to blink with Dawn. Oh, beautiful phase shift, and he does manage to John up, but now
the bug hit him. The bug hit him somehow. I can't believe it did. That's very unfortunate because now it's going to constantly cancel his blink. Or no, it actually gets killed by the creeps. Very nice.
And they're staying right on him. There's a good grade from Jimmy. Made up for it that time. And that's going to be enough to get Mag to the Hoos. So crazy sequence. Polar ends up losing 2 for 1. And once again, Mushi is 4-3-7 on this Zeus. He's not really as impactful as I would have expected him to be this game either.
Yeah, that was a questionable ulti from him to start things out. Maybe it was just a zone or like a vision kind of ulti, but yeah, we'll see. If he can just be a little bit more restrained in his ulting and whatnot, it'll be better. He's almost actually level 16, so that'll be a huge jump in damage. It'll go from, actually, I guess it's not that huge. It's only 540 to 640 with the Ag. So, but of course, you know that's times 5, so it's still not too bad. And there was a pickup. Yep, the MKB for ZYF.
Yep,
fantastic pickup.
Been a banner day for ZYF as he is sitting at 11-2-7. Very, very great game for him. Illidan showing how Bristleback can be played if you want to play him. You don't have to play him. You can play him as a pure out-and-out run and Shikari if you want, and he's done a great job. 8-2-5, and pretty high on the net worth chart. Hell, how about the highest? Problem is, after that, the fall-off is gigantic. And Polar continuing to hold this game at least within some semblance of reach. But I think things are going to be a little bit more complicated now that they've got ZYF this built. His damage output tremendous, hitting for an excess of 300 damage now.
Yeah, and he'll probably go for crit after this too.
Yep.
And the point still stands that there's no one that can lock him down when that BKB is ready. Nobody. The only person, again, is the Venge. And he has to get a blink to DDC is out in no man's land. BKB used a little prematurely, although he can run an Inflame, and the Inflame cannot cast any more spells.
Yep.
He just cast it. No, actually,
they're going to come back in, timing it perfectly. Great weave from Demon, though. Let's see how they can stack up with this damage output from the Weaver. Phobos being chased down. He is right-clicked to pieces. Illidan's still way up front. FNG gets a stun off. Can they get the Weaver? They can. Down he goes. Polar on the charge now. There's going to be the Yules. And no, hello, FNG gives him the do-si-do, brings him back and brings him down. A triple kill for Mag. And Polar breathing new air. As we're about to see, yes, Roche will be back up. It's a shame it's a little bit late. But look at that. Again, the biggest lead of the game all but erased. One bad fight, and VP could have seen this one slip away from them. Instead, they bring this very nearly back to even, and if they take a Roshan off of it, it will be even.
Oh, God, the Abyssal coming out for Bristleback. I love this. And I think LV is just getting very, very complacent in their team fighting. Like, and just the way that they're exiting and running around. Like, DDC caught no man's land, didn't get the ulti off. Inflame was very unfortunate for him. That was 2 BKBs used, so he couldn't do anything. And then Panda needs to start using this Dazzle, man. Either use the Bristleback or use the Dazzle, but I think it needs to be the Dazzle. He's just healing way too many times in these team fights.
Bristleback is gigantic. Illidan doing what Illidan does, which is hitting creeps and building stuff. And he's in a phenomenal position. What a fight for Polar as they turn that one around. And this game, again, completely different than it was just 5 minutes ago. Looking like it was going against, at this point, the Night Stalker's honestly not even having that much of an impact. He's doing okay, but he's 5-4 and 7. He's gotten as good as he's given. It's really the Illidan Stormrage show, and more than anything, the support show. FNG has had a phenomenal game on this Vengeful Spirit. Demon has really played well on the Dazzle. We're seeing the power of that hero really displayed hugely. And FNG's going to grab himself a pipe. I love this pickup.
Yeah, it's really smart. I agree. And also in that last fight, I think the BKB usage of Weaver was just not optimal. He used it when he wasn't really getting focused, and then he actually had a time lapse after that, but his BKB was still down and just got focused. And I think he needed to be a little bit more restrained with that in particular, because without that BKB, he's actually very susceptible. Like I mentioned, no Lincoln, so and Lincoln's would be bad, granted, because there's just so many ways to get rid of it. But he has to be a little bit careful with his BKB usage, and it's down. It's actually down all the way to 5 seconds. I didn't even know that. Just because he picked it up first, he's been using it so much. And that's a big deal.
You know, you talk about that all the time, the idea that maybe very often you don't want to BKB first because you don't want to be using the charges.
Right.
Is it just a mental thing? Can't you just be like, okay, I'm just not going to use it for like 10 minutes?
It could be very well a mental thing, but maybe there's just like a physical restraint of not letting you use it by not buying it, you know?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
I'm just curious.
But then again, if that's the point, if you're not going to use it at all, then why even buy the item? So.
Are fortified.
It's a give and a take. And the tower under assault, VP hanging around. They're going to go ahead and use Nightmare. And there's a Vision ulti. Demon mechs everyone through it. And for the moment, all Raxes remain standing. We do see that ZYF was putting some push onto top. There's some damage done to this tier 3 here. In fact, still has Desolator damage on it. So the split push of the Weaver is going to become a big factor, I think, as we move later into the game. Still do like LV's lineup a bit more now that we're getting into the 40-minute mark, but Polar has positioned themselves very well. If they can continue to move well, make good decisions, and execute at the level they have been, which frankly has been higher than LV, they have just as good a chance to win. Just on paper, LV should, in theory, be able to split this map up a little bit easier. They should have a vision advantage in 2 ways. Obviously, dewarding, the free dewarding they'll get from Zeus, and the ulti. Once he gets a refresher in particular, which I can imagine has to be sometime in the plans, they'll be able to keep an eye on things. So it's going to be on Polar to continue to do what they've been doing, but if they can, they're really in nice shape now at 40 minutes in.
Kind of interesting that Ohio has chosen not to put any more points into Drunken Haze. Only having it at level 2 at level 17. Not the biggest deal in the world, but you know, going up from 55 miss % to 75 miss % is is actually pretty substantial. So a little bit curious right there. But as you're alluding to and talking about, the Venge picks up the full pipe. Very, very good item for them. They got pipe, they got mech, they got these really beefy team fighting heroes that in a 5v5, if Dazzle just keeps getting off heals constantly over and over, it's just very impossible to fight against that. You really have to kill him first, honestly.
Yep, they're going to lead with Illidan. Still has his Aegis for a bit. And Demon hanging on to his weave for now. There's going to be the initiation. Illidan, again, with the Aegis. They're going to spill. Wow.
Look at that.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. That's a waste of an ulti. Because he still has his Aegis. Even if that had killed him, even if that had done the job, it wouldn't have mattered.
Look at all the healing done, man. And it didn't even lose the Aegis.
Nope.
Oh my God, this draft from FNG is just proven to be masterful, man.
It really has.
I mean, essentially they have a one core, but because of the extra HP extra farm that you have on like Dazzle and your support of Venge, it's kind of turned the other heroes into more of a core as well.
Radiant's top tower is
Polar
under attack.
battling back from a deficit it seemed like they were going to struggle to overcome. And now, without a doubt, taking that one set of racks, they can get another tier 2. How about the last tier 2? They're going to come in. Illidan still has his Aegis. They're going to ignore him. And
they're going to go
try
straight for Demon. He's going straight for Demon.
They have to. There's going to be the ulti. Now we're going to have FNG caught from behind. Nice three-man coil from Mag, though. Ult thrown by Lynch. One of the first times we've seen it, it seems like, since he's been dead so often. DDC, though, just chopped to pieces as Illidan back up off that Aegis, gets a double kill for himself. Now going toe-to-toe with Ohio. And ZYF can't do a whole lot about it. VP is going to charge high ground, and they may just take a win here.
He still has his Abyssal Blade up. If he catches him with some extra vision, that Weaver's dead. No Lincolns, only 1,500 HP. Not the most armor in the world either, especially when you have that negative armor coming out from all these heroes.
Radiant's top tower
A
has
very
fallen.
interesting draft, and it's totally working here for Polar.
Ohio getting brave. Goes out. DK Phobos caught from behind. Illidan is taking a bit more damage this time around.
Dead.
Yep, Inflame, like you said. Downskis, they make it Illidan. Nope, they finally do, as we see CYF finally drop that raid boss. Demon next on the list. Can't get the grave off in time. Now Phobos is going to be on the run as they're going to try to catch him, but he's moving a little too quickly. Mag able to make it out there as well. 25-25. They take the tier 3, but a timely defense from LV, and they needed it desperately right there. Losing another set of racks could have been crippling. And instead, they at least extend this game a little bit longer. Still, utterly Polar's game to win and to lose. But they do have some time to try to put, again, the advantages they do have into play some.
Well, I think we're seeing the result of when teams and players talk about, are there any disadvantages to picking up Panda early? And obviously, most teams want to pick up Panda early. He's a tier 1 hero, very, very strong. But we've just seen FNG draft nicely around it. As you mentioned, I don't even think it's Ohio's fault. He can't get anything done in these fights.
No.
Even when he went straight onto Demon, he's like, I'm going to ulti behind and just throw Demon up in the air. It still didn't really do that much, actually.
No, I completely agree with you. He's just not accomplishing anything. And to be honest, I mean, the Lich ult there was subpar at best.
Lich does nothing at this stage of the game.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
really does nothing.
And then you have the Zeus ult, and he's lacking a refresher. And nowhere near it, BT Dubs. Like, he is miles away from any kind of item progression. He's had the same items on him basically for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that hurts. Like, if you're Zeus, it's, you know, you're level dependent, but if so long as your itemization is okay, you're going to be useful. But even he's not feeling particularly useful anymore. And a lot of that, like you said, comes down to just how much healing they have for VP.
So much healing. Like, Jimmy's been doing a great job this game. His score doesn't really reflect that, but he's just been sitting in the back constantly spamming out those heals, using his weave when he needs to. The poison touch is negligible in these fights. I actually liked how he chose to max that at the very end. It's all about the Grave and all about the Shadow Wave in this particular lineup.
They're going to get a coil onto CYF. He's caught out. Here comes Ohio. He's going to get the split off. There's the Abyssal, though, and we're going to see that Weaver drop as Polar in gorgeous shape. There's going to be a Lich ult, but hell, doesn't accomplish anything. Mag made it to the high ground, and Illidan will be lifted. But behind that, trying to keep an eye on Phobos and Ohio.
Oh, he missed his first attack.
Yep.
Here comes the TP, though, from FNG. I think we got him.
FNG on point. And there's the BKB. He's going to try to waste their time, if nothing else. There's the swap to bring him on back. That BKB low duration should be wearing off right about now. And down he goes. And Polar, who looked to be in such a dire situation after the early game and especially the early parts of the mid-game, really went the way of LV. They're doing what they did in the first series they played yesterday. They're just flat out executing and out maneuvering.
They seem to be a very good team at team fight. And you know what the funny thing about that is? They're playing with a stand-in.
Yep.
Who doesn't know Russian.
Who doesn't speak the language.
Who doesn't speak the language. That says a lot about the confidence and whoever's making the calls. I'm assuming it's FNG. I could be wrong though. But whoever's making the calls and telling them what to do in team fights is really on point and knows their stuff, because their team fights are fantastic. But that also goes hand in hand with, you know, capitalizing the mistakes of LV and just a very coherent draft, honestly, from FNG. I thought that LV would be a little bit strong in the late game, but
Demon caught. Not the end of the road. Let's see, they're actually
1, 2, 3.
Worth it. And VP has him on the run again. FNG, or excuse me, Mushi has to be careful here. Roche is back up, and they'll take this in a hurry.
No, that'll be very good for them. Yeah, still no ags up onto DK Phobos. I suppose it's still working. Like you mentioned, it's not really him doing too much. It's just kind of the other 4 heroes that are. I mean, even the aura from the Vengeful Spirit is really helping out the damage from the Bristleback as well.
Yeah, I mean, Phobos has done his job.
Look at his damage, 520. That's without the Venge. That's without negative armor onto heroes with Weave. Can you imagine? He's gonna be hitting for 600 with like negative 30 armor or something like that.
It's getting ridiculous. And you know, a lot of that, and that, as sad as it is to say, might be the most important thing Phobos is doing this game, is having the Assault Cuirass for the Bristleback. The pipe pickup, of course, very important for the Venge. Mech is there with the Ghost Scepter for Jimmy, so his survivability's been high for a while. It's just a team that's built around, like you said, there's only one what you would consider pure late game core that can be really viewed as reliable. But whenever you have a team that did well enough to buy the time you needed, and then you pick up all of these support items, all of these utility items, just to make that one hero such a raid boss, it's not hard to understand why they are in the position they're in right now.
I've been thoroughly impressed with just Illidan and his team fighting, and overall just his ability to farm faster than most carries. Like we saw the anti-mage game where he had 100 CS in just about 10 minutes. It's pretty much, I will just call it that. It was like 1 second before.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous. And this game, he's been able to just constantly still farm on the Bristleback, but still being aggressive. I've been very, very impressed with Illidan. FNG, his drafting and just his play from start to finish has been very, very good. And it's been really fun to watch VP Polar play, honestly. I wasn't expecting these good things from him, but yeah, I've been thoroughly impressed.
Running down top lane, Illidan.
Radiant's top barracks
Just going to move right onto the racks, and they're going to do something. Still take some damage from that burst. They're going to try to finger him. Not quite. There's going to be the weave, and now the BKBs are off on both sides. You're going to see a coil. Not the best coil, but Ohio able to split nonetheless. There's going to be the chain frost. Not going to get a whole lot of bounces off of it. VP forced out of the base, at least for the moment. And the Brew trying to chase this down a little bit. They got Illidan up into the air, but with all of these ults about to expire, problem is they did all that just to get one hero. And in the meantime,
the rat.
Yep, up at top, ZYF doing his job, and they will catch it from behind. Mag right there, got the kill. So ZYF got a tier 3 out of it, but now he's down. Does he have buyback?
Yeah.
He does, okay. I'm actually surprised Polar didn't reset and go in there. I think they could have with all the ults down.
Well, yeah, they probably could have, but they needed to deal with that Weaver problem. Giving up a free Rax when you're up this much and having this much momentum is not something you want to give up for free. So, but they should definitely press the issue, and yeah, see all the pings and the directions of their facing. They should at least bait out this buyback.
LV is going to smoke out. Smart move. They need to find something to get things going. They may catch Phobos. Smoke's going to be popped. Blind blink. Yep, blinked in the wrong direction. Thought he might blink aggressively. Just had to go blind and see if he could find someone, or maybe that was defensive. I don't know. Either way, Polar ready to run at rack some more. They're just going to run right down mid. Brewmaster ulti. 10 seconds till it's up. BKB's ready for everyone. There's the weave. They're going to take this range racks. Phobos has the Aegis and the cheese, by the way.
Structures are fortified.
And just wanting to make sure his aura stays alive from the Assault Cuirass as long as possible. This Rax, they're going to get Phobos going to initiate, and there's beautiful swap, and what a grave from Demon. Are you serious, Jimmy? Right off of that swap, they turn it back around, and down goes Mushi. Here's the split from the Brewmaster. Don't know that it's going to be any more effective now than it has been all game. Phobos does have his Aegis popped off of him. Mag now in some trouble, though. Another good grave, a little bit early, but good enough to keep him up and running for now. And the route is on as Polar kites out all of the ultimates and is chasing them back to the fountain now. And they are going to have their run of things. Demon, Ghost Scepters, he's still alive. And this is going to be at least another set of racks, if not more. Hell, they're still cleaning them up and farming the fountain. Buyback on ZYF. And yeah, they did go ahead and send Phobos at least up the top to go ahead and focus down the rest of the racks. Behind that, though, Illidan's right on top of Mushi along with FNG. FNG will end up dying to the big right click coming out of ZYF. But Illidan's still pretty big boy. And they may be able to chase him out. But it's irrelevant as the top set of racks have already been killed.
Nice try from Illidan. But yep, the damage has clearly already been done. Oh boy, I just don't know. This Bristleback is just way too strong. He can sell that Vanguard for another tier 1 item. The heals are too much. Their sustainability in this fight and just their communication. That's the bottom line. It's the irony of it. It's so funny that while he can't even speak the language, that they're still playing so well specifically in the team fights, and that's when communication needs to be the most important, right?
Right.
So it's very impressive to watch. I think VP Polar's team fighting in particular is just the strongest we've seen in this tournament so far.
Well, Polar gonna have their options in terms of how they want to proceed. They got another Abyssal Blade up onto, looks like Demon needs a minute, but they've got another Abyssal Blade up, this time onto the Night Stalker. So having the Night Stalker with another dedicated stun they can use on the Weaver, gonna be, to put it mildly, a problem. Classic Jimmy, says FNG. But yeah, I think they're in a position where they could just run down bottom lane if they really want to. I don't know that they have a whole lot to fear, but LV, again, we saw how rat-tastic they could be running ZYF out split wide. And they may just take a run at the base and hope for a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, looks like ZYF wants to get a butterfly. I don't think he finishes it in time. I think they don't have time to wait. They're already 5 pushing up. They've pushed out bottom, or they've pushed out mid and top just a little bit. This is their one last chance.
Yep, they're gonna just go for an all-out win. The buybacks are not all that available. Illidan has one most notably. Mag does too. But other than that, nobody on the map has buyback. And the creeps are going to make it count. Yep, there's going to be a swap.
Oh, what a combo.
There's a Force Staff just bought by Zeus. That gives him time, just enough time to make it back. FNG, another good grave from Jimmy. Ohio's held on to his ulti. The damage output is tremendous, though. They should be able to get it off and will. But this is not enough. Phobos being chased back. Still has the cheese. He will go ahead and consume it. And the creeps are going to be hitting the base momentarily. So they either have to fight now or run. And Polar maybe can come back out. Yeah, Phobos is going to chase them down. They catch Mushi from behind. Very quick blink gets him back to safety. Behind that, though, ZYF hit with a stun. Follow-up, beautiful 2-man Earth Spike. But Demon once again on top of the grave. And only one is dropped. That's been FNG. They're continuing to pursue out the Weaver. They're going to catch In Flame. He's easily dead. Mag next to die as he was in no man's land. Now Yang, ZYF trying to make a run for it. Not able to catch him. Urn Charge keeps him alive. DDC dies behind it, as does one more. And Mushi next on the list. They just can't kill him before he's able to blink. Very quick. But again, their base is being assaulted by creeps, and all their ultimates now on cooldown. There's going to be a halberd coming out from the Weaver. Nice pickup, maybe something they could have stood to and have invested in earlier in this match. But looks like this is going to be Polar's time to shine.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is that was probably LV's best team fight they've had this entire game, but it's just too much farm on the side of the Polar.
Up here we go, BKB. Phobos going to go toe-to-toe with Ohio. Another good grave on Demon, actually a little early that time, wasn't even being focus fired. Will be used in the meantime. ZYF continuing to chase down DK Phobos. And will he get him? He's going to run into a big wave of creeps. Actually got hung up there. Phobos does manage to keep himself alive. And they do manage to run the rest out of the base. Phobos did escape just by the skin of his teeth. But they did get one Rax, and of course that was the melee Rax, so still hanging on, at least for the moment, is LV.
Yeah, and I feel bad for this Lich too, because in this sort of game, Lich, I feel like all he's doing is running around and just applying ice armor to his teammates. His ulti does absolutely nothing. Even if he gets like the full amount of bounces, just the amount of damage is just negligible at this point in the game, especially against a pipe as well. There's the MKB. You know, I was talking about the MKB. He's like, oh, we might need an MKB. And he probably does, but man, when you're up 5 racks, it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah.
It's just the icing on the cake here for Illidan.
Yeah, Roche is going to be back up, and we're going to have a free Aegis and another set of cheese, I would imagine. Another cheese, probably for the Night Stalker. He'll get at least one of them. They may end up giving, Matt can maybe trade the gem off and pick up the Aegis for himself. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Money changes hands.
But LV gonna move into Roshan first. This is desperation time. They're taking it down quick. VP needs to get in there. There's going to be Mag. Mag got the coil off. It's going to be BKB. There's going to be a swamp, though. Ohio turns back around, tries to do what he can. DK Phobos caught from behind. Roche still sitting at about a quarter health. There's going to be ZYF caught with the Abyssal. Force staff and time lapse. Gets him back up and ready to fight. Mag's on the high ground, right-clicking down, and they are going to get him. Mag tracks him down now. Mushi next on the list. There's no buyback for ZYF. FNG likely to take a spill here, but it's not going to matter. Gets off the magic missile. They will clean up Ohio.
That's game.
That's ball game. They're going to run right at the throne.
Yep.
And GG.
Wow, man.
A barn burner. And I'll tell you, man, sometimes you got to cop to it. We both underestimated just the potential that Polar could have going late. I really thought this was a game that was going to be determined by 30 minutes in. We were either going to see Polar run them over, or we were going to see LV just explode in the late game. And Polar had other things in mind as they pushed this game to 57 minutes and take a win that by the time all was said and done is hella impressive. And tell you what, if you play fantasy, you got to love some Illidan. 21.2 fantasy points for that guy. Easy to understand why when he finishes 19-4-14 here in this game. Good performances from the supporting cast as well. Most notably, Jimmy, 3-8-8. Doesn't sound impressive as a box score, but he was on top of his game, making plays along with, in particular, FNG. 4-9-19 for him.
It was kind of fun to watch the old combo of the Axe Puck. So he's able to use the coil, and it goes through BKB, and then they had the Venge swap out to get him to actually break the coil, and he's just sitting there for, I think it's 4.5 seconds or something, even through BKB. They weren't able to fully capitalize on it and kill him, but it did disrupt the fight long enough to make it fun to watch. But just a really nice draft. I didn't think it was going to work. Okay, we've seen so many of these one-dimensional drafts where it's like kind of all in.
We
so
saw EG really hurt themselves yesterday over it.
Not to say that it can't work, but it just, if it doesn't work in the early stages of the game, you don't start to snowball and pick up your feet. It just kind of falls flat on his face, and then it looks like, why go that? Why not go for more of the safety net with a carry? This time it worked, and they all played those team fights fantastically well. I'm just really impressed with them, man. I didn't think they'd do this well. I mean, they came in at the last minute to stand in for Empire.
I don't think there's any doubt right now. This is a surprise team of the tournament. 100%. They have played so well in their first series, and they have kept it rolling here in the second series. And suddenly, we see LV in danger of falling to the lower bracket. Polar just one win away from advancing.